Well, quite a bit of work has happened since the last episode of Defender Rescue here featuring Project Toto. Mostly disassembly and sanding. We decided to take the project a little bit further than we had originally anticipated, just because it's not that it was needed it, we just thought it deserved it. And we replaced a couple panels, but we're trying to keep everything as original as possible. And as part of that is, you strip everything back and you sand and you do some more sanding and ultimately you sand some more until everything is perfect. And after that, we can get ready for paint. And it should be noted again that our traditional process for a bespoke build is that everything comes apart. And we made the conscientious decision to leave this one partially assembled, mostly because once you tear it apart, it loses a lot of the originality. There are of course some pieces that we need to replace, and so we'll cut out those panels and replace them with new so that we can get the same effect of a bespoke build, just a slightly different process. Grinding down years of corrosion to get back to fresh metal, treating things where necessary, but kind of figuring out where the good parts and the bad parts are, including seat box ends, things that just naturally corrode over the years through different metals contacting each other, and then building them back up. Of course, there's always more sanding involved in that process.
Hi, welcome back to another episode of our preservation series on this beautiful vehicle behind me, Toto. Take 4. You'll have to forgive this. This is one of those uncomfortable videos for me. This sucks. Hi, Andy here again on, I believe, what is episode 3 of Toto, our preservation series vehicle. I figured now was a good time to just touch bases on where we're at with the project, give you a general overview of what we're aiming for with this project, as I'm probably sure most of you have worked out already at this stage in the build. But we're getting to the point now where most of the painstaking prep work has been done. The guys are a little bit over target. We're probably about 3 weeks in, which has dragged along a little bit, but we're getting there. We've had to probably add maybe 8 days to the total of this build, and that's purely because it, as every build, gets a little bit carried away with itself. And we tend to find that these builds, when quoted, say for instance 10 days, they drag on a bit because you find things you weren't expecting. Now I'll walk you around a little bit of that in a minute. This has been stripped back much further than we'd initially anticipated. We were originally going to just stick to the exterior bodywork to be painted and just to freshen up. However, as you can see behind us, this has now turned into one of our higher level restoration jobs. And I'll walk you through exactly what that involves for us as a business and the kind of time that takes. You'll see as well that at the end of it, ultimately, it is a far better job. The reason that we take these vehicles further than we need to is because we have to present them at this level. And for us, preserving something for another 25 years means it has to be done properly. We could just slap a load of body filler in here and paint over the top of it and away it goes, but that's not really the ethos here at Bishop+Rook. So I'll turn the camera around and show you a little bit of what's been going on while you've been away and while we've been on holiday and so forth. But for the past 3 odd weeks, here's what's been going on. Some of the other new panels we've replaced, again, these end cappings are so inexpensive that it makes no sense to spend an hour or even half an hour repairing an old one. That's brand new, and I think in retrospect it's just going to make it so much nicer. The edges are much cleaner. It's just one of those things. I think the tub cappings are being replaced. I'm not totally sure why that's on there, but it might be that they're being refurbished by the looks of it actually. But that'll give you an idea. Two more doors there, they're already done. Windscreen frame. This will have all new seals all the way through. I would think that probably going to keep things like the seat belts. And that factory aircon dash, that's something you will not see in a vehicle. This is going to take some commissioning work, obviously, as they all do. 25-year-old air conditioning systems in the UK, at least, were not the best. However, this forward-facing vent system is something that you don't see on every Land Rover. That's quite a rare option, especially in the UK market. Our aim with this system is to try and fully recommission it. It might turn out, like some of the other aircon systems, that isn't possible. The reason for that is that this is a 1987 vehicle with a petrol engine. It's missing the air conditioning compressor. It's missing some of the lines. So it might well end up with a modern dual core system, like a Ministry of Defender system, similar to the ones we fit in other vehicles, but we're going to try and avoid that if we can, just to try and preserve the originality of it. But yeah, stay tuned for that. With any luck, we'll be able to keep as much of this original as possible, as really the story on this vehicle is worth more than the vehicle, in our minds at least, if you're trying to preserve a bit of history. This vehicle in our minds will continue for another, we'd like to think, 25 years, and then it might need a light restoration again. So yeah, our goals after paint will be followed up as usual by the chassis restoration, which doesn't need a lot of restoration, it just needs stripping down and resurfacing. And then the mechanical restoration, which will include the drivetrain, axles, exhaust, all the usual stuff that you see on a Bishop+Rook build. And then that vehicle will be commissioned as finished, shipped out and available for sale. So at that point, or prior to that, if you place a pre-order, then you can pick up this vehicle probably in the next couple of months. I wouldn't think it will take much longer to get there, as it did run and drive in, remember? So it wasn't that long ago we were driving this around the lanes. If there is anything in particular you want to know about this build, Toto, why don't you leave a comment below or above. I'm not really sure what platform this is going to end up on, probably Instagram and YouTube. If you leave a comment asking whichever questions you want, then I'll try and include them in the next video in episode 4. Take 4. You'll have to forgive this. This is one of those uncomfortable videos for me, having not done much of this kind of thing before, as you know. So kind of working through how to make this feel more comfortable for me. I've done obviously a lot of FaceTime on YouTube videos before, as you know, but for me this is kind of awkward because you can't see this, but I've got my camera pointed at me and the screen shows a picture of my face while I'm talking. So for me it's kind of awkward, but I figured I'd let you in a little bit on what's involved in making these videos and try and lighten it up for myself a little bit, as I'm not a complete natural at this. And you know, part of this might make the video, it might not. But this is the reality for me as a business owner. I'm a mechanic by trade. I'm somebody who gets stuck in this kind of project. I'm not somebody who typically will record videos of myself for projects or customers. And that's something, you know, having worked with Bishop+Rook and Mike, who actually comes from this industry initially, is that I've had to learn on my feet with recording videos and feeling comfortable with watching myself on screen, which you can probably imagine isn't all that comfortable for a person in this industry, or any industry that isn't, you know, film based. But yeah, you might understand that YouTube videos are very easy to watch, very easy to digest, but it's not always easy to digest coming from somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. So yeah, forgive me, this is take 4. We're probably going to end up with a couple more before I actually even get around to getting the camera and showing you the vehicle. This is Toto.